forests, using and protecting them. What is a forest? Forest means many things to different people. Different people use forest differently. Some people live in simple shelters in the forest and grow a few vegetables, etc., and gather fruits and tubers and hunt small animals. Some other uses the forest to graze their animals, sheep, goats, cows, etc. Some others cultivate by making small clearings or podu in the forest. Most forests have many of these features. A large tract stretching several kilometers in length and breadth. A tree, cover and undergrowth which grows with little interference from human beings. Considerable biodiversity where many kinds of plants and animals live and breed naturally without interference. In India, at least, most forests are inhabited by people who have been living in them by adapting themselves to the conditions of the forest but without changing them too much. People living around the forest use them for a variety of purposes for food, for wood, for building cottages and making agricultural tools, fuel, grazing animals, for worship, solitude, etc. People living far away from forests too have been using the forest for many things like wood, medicines, etc., which they buy in the market. Thus, many people earn their livelihood by collecting forest produce and selling them. Location and types of forest. Several thousand years ago, forest grew almost everywhere where there was soil, sunshine and rain. Forest grew almost everywhere as human beings took to agriculture and living in villages and towns, forests were cut down for agriculture, mines, plantations, industries, etc. Slowly, by the beginning of the 20th century, forests were confined to only tracts that were not useful for agriculture. Forests can be classified on the basis of different criteria. For example, we can classify them on the basis of how dense or sparse the vegetation is. We can have very dense forest, open scrub forest, degraded forest, etc. This classification helps us to understand where we have thick forest cover and where it is in degraded situation. Another way of classifying forests is by looking at the type of vegetation that grows in them. Different kinds of trees grow in places which have a particular climate. Combination of rainfall, temperature and cycle of dry, wet and hot months, etc. For example, some trees like coniferous trees like pine will only grow in very cold climates which also have snowfall. Some trees like teak grow in regions of moderate rain and warm temperatures. The density of the tree will also depend upon the nature of the rainfall and temperature. Some mankinds of forests. Evergreen forests. Regions which get very high rainfall and also have a very warm climate like in equatorial regions, or regions like Kerala and Andamans in India have evergreen forests. These are dense forests with a very large variety of trees, plants, creepers, etc. These forests are always green as the trees shed their old leaves but get new leaves very soon. While one kind of tree sheds its leaves, another tree remains green. This is because they get moisture and warmth to grow continuously. Jamun, cane, bamboos, kadam, etc. are some characteristic trees of these regions. There are also different kinds of evergreen forests in the Himalayas. These are pine forests which remain green throughout the year. They have leaves which are very thin and in shapes of needles. These trees don't bear flowers but produce cones and hence are called coniferous trees. These trees grow in areas with snowfall. Hence, these trees have the needle-like leaves which do not allow the snow to rest on them. The tree itself is shaped in such a way that the snow slips down the sides and fall on the ground. Deciduous forests. These grow in regions where it rains in only some months and is warm and dry during most of the year. The trees shed their leaves during very dry months. Water evaporates through the leaves and the trees try to conserve moisture by getting rid of the leaves during the dry months. New leaves come with the onset of rains so that the trees can produce food from themselves. Most of the forests of Andhra Pradesh fall in this category as we get less rainfall and that too in some months, and it is very hot during most of the year. In our state, we have two kinds of deciduous forests, one which receives more rain and one which receives less rain. The deciduous forests which receives more rain have the following kind of trees: Vegi, Egesa, Maddi, Bandharu, Gittigi. In our state, such forests are found in Srikakulam and Visakhapatnam districts and East Godavari agency areas. In areas with less rainfall, we have trees like Maddi, Teak, Velaga, Aegis, Epi, Chiguru, Billu, Neem, Tirisena, Buruga and Moduga. Such forests are more widespread in our state and can be found in Adilabad, Warangal, YSR Kadapa, Kurnool, Khammam, Nizamabad and Karimnagar districts. Thorny forests. These grow in very dry areas with little rainfall and high temperatures. Most of the trees are thorny. The common trees are babul, bulusurega, sandal, neem, etc. They are located in YSR Kadapa, Chittoor, Anantapur and Nalgonda districts. Thorny trees have very tiny leaves and thorns which help to conserve water. The forests are also not dense and have open space and more undergrowth with fewer trees. Littoral and swamp forests. These grow mostly in the sea coast on sandy beaches and marshy lands and on lands affected by tidal waves. Hence, the trees are adapted to salt water and the flow of tidal waves. These are called mangrove forests. The trees have developed some unique features to survive in this difficult environment. Uppu ponna, Poddu ponna, Urada, Mada, Telli Mada, Gundu Mada, Kadili and Bella are some of the typical vegetation of this region. About 64,000 square kilometers of the state are declared as forest by the government. This is about 23% of all land in the state or nearly 1/4 of our state. Only about 16% of our land has tree cover to qualify as forest. About 7% of our forest lands are open grounds and with very few trees. Even this forest cover is dwelling due to felling, encroachment, mining, etc. Every year about 100 square kilometers of forest are lost in our state. Tribal people and forests. Forests provide the critical resources for the very poor in our state to make a living. In North Coastal region, 20% of the people who use the forest collect headloads of fuel wood and carry them to markets for sale. On the other hand, in Rayalaseema districts, most people depend upon the forest for grazing sheep and goats. In contrast, nearly 75% people in Telangana collect minor forest produce and sell them in the local markets for earning a living. Even in coastal regions, about 50% people depend upon such collection of forest produce. The tribal people depend upon forests for their livelihood are the most important. For thousands of years, tribal people have lived in these forests, protecting them and earning their livelihood from them. Even today, more than 60% of the forests of Andhra Pradesh are in areas where tribal people live. Unlike in plain villages, tribal people don't have the notion of private property in land, and all clan members use the forest with the consent of the village elders. Since the Podu keeps shifting every few years, there is no fixed record of ownership of land. Also, when population increases and new families are formed, the village elders give them permission to clear new plots of lands. In the days before the British rule, the tribal people treated the forest as their own, but it was a sacred land to them, which they used without causing damage to it or the animals in it. Even when they hunted animals or cleared forest for Podu fields, they took care to ensure the regeneration of animals and trees. During the last 200 years, after the establishment of British rule in our country, the tribal people gradually lost their control and rights over the forest. Since then, forests were rapidly cut down. This happened in two ways. Firstly, there was a great demand for wood for various purposes like building railways, ships, factories, mines, houses, furniture, etc. Similarly, many industries like paper industry need large quantities of pulp wood. As a result of these pressures, large tracts of forests were cut down and the wood sold out. In many areas, forests were cut down to create plantation of tea, coffee or rubber, and later on of quick growing trees like eucalyptus or bamboo. Thus, the total area under forest got reduced greatly. Secondly, the British government wanted to control the felling of forests in such a way that it could benefit most from it and also help protecting the remaining forests. They made laws in 1864 and 1878 to create the Forest Department, which was giving control over the forest. Similarly, laws were also passed by the Nizam government in the areas under its control. The laws restricted the traditional, customary rights of tribals and forest users by classifying forests as reserved and protected forests. Reserved forests were forests in which no one could enter. Protected forests could be used by people. They could take headloads of woods and small forest produce for their own use and could graze their cattle. But here too, there were many restrictions over cutting trees, grazing more than the limit set by the forest department, etc. When the government had to define the area under forest, it treated most of the land used by the tribals as forest belonging to the government. This was because, unlike in the plains, villages which had village land records, most of the tribals cultivated land without any ownership records. The demarcation of reserve forest did not take notice of these practices and led to forced evictions. By one stroke, the tribal people were rendered homeless in their own homes. The government was eager to hand over the land to zamindars and cultivators from other areas so that they could settle down and cultivate the lands and pay revenue to the government. The Forest Department, which was established in this period, had the task of protecting the forest and planting new trees. It also had the responsibility of managing and harvesting of the forest, that is, felling mature old trees and selling them to earn money for the government. The forest department officials usually belonged to distant rich communities who regarded the tribal people as ignorant and dangerous people and had no sympathy for them. They exploited the heartless tribal people, cheated them, and constantly harassed them. In the name of the forest conservation, large-scale evictions occurred in the 1920s and mopping operations continued till 1940. This created an atmosphere of unending insecurity for the tribal people. The tribal people fought against this from the very beginning. In some regions like the Northeast, they were able to win some protection from the government. The change in 1988 to 90. By 1988, the government realized that the protection of forest was impossible without the active role of tribals. The National Forest Policy 1988 declared that the primary task should be to associate the tribal people in the protection, regeneration and development of forests. It also wanted to provide gainful employment to the people living in and around forests. The government sought to involve village communities living close to the forest in their protection and the development of degraded forest land. It also prescribed right of use to village communities to meet their demand of forest produce and active participation in afforestation programs. Thus, a new policy was put into practice in 1988, which eventually led to the Joint Forest Management. It actually meant that the Forest Department and local communities will collaborate in regenerating degrading forests, planting trees. The communities were allowed to use the grass and other minor forest produce. In Andhra Pradesh, this program was renamed as Community Forest Management Program. While this program helped to bring together the forest department and the local communities, it only forced the tribal people to give up their earlier Podu lands for forest regeneration. During the same time, several tiger sanctuaries were established in the forest to protect wildlife. Forest Rights Act 2006. The tribal people had been protesting and fighting against these processes. Their cause was taken up by many non-governmental agencies which built a national campaign for tribal rights over forest. After prolonged debate, the Parliament passed the Forest Rights Act in 2006. The Act confers on forest dwellers and other traditional users of forest their traditional rights over the forest and also title to lands they use. If implemented properly, this act can be used to undergo the wrongs done to the tribal people over the generations.
మా వీడియో కనుక మీకు నచ్చినట్లయితే లైక్ చేయండి, షేర్ చేయండి. ఇలాంటి మరిన్ని వీడియోస్ కోసం మా ఛానల్ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోవడం మాత్రం మర్చిపోకండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ ఫర్ వాచింగ్.